tonight's topic is investing in property post-pandemic. What you should look for when choosing your next investment property. So this is our GIS, or we call Global Investment Seminar 668 times already. Oh, right. So I'm very happy that tonight we have a very powerful speaker to share with us tonight. So before we invite our speaker, so we would like to start a simple poll question tonight, right? So the question is, do you think year 2022 is a good year to invest in property? Oh, okay, come join us. Okay, because some said okay, now it's pandemic, no, post-pandemic is not a right time to do a property investment. But some say also, oh, actually during the pandemic, many property price drop already and drop a lot, so it's a good timing for us. So let's participate in this poll question. So yeah, I see many of our friends start to answering this question. This year is a good year to invest in property. Okay, so thank you for participate in this poll question, right? Oh, okay, increase now 77% already. Answering yes. Okay, right. So this is a global education platform which we can learn to maximize our wealth with two market proven strategy, which is the PILC and the BILC, right? So to join our community, actually tonight is free for you, okay? Because the fee, the $50 fee, is fully sponsored by our partner. So tonight only limited to 10 new member. So for those who are in Facebook and you want to know what is GIC, so you can click the link, okay, at the chat box, or you can scan this QR code. Then our customer customer CS officer will contact with you. Okay, right. Next. Now is the time to start our topic for tonight. Okay, investment in property post-pandemic. What you should look for when choosing your next investment property, because many people also said in the pandemic time, it's not the right time looking for a property investment. But some say, oh no, now is a post-pandemic, many property price is dropping, and now is the time to invest in the property, right? So tonight we have invited a very renowned property speaker and also renowned blogger in Malaysia, okay, who is Mr. Charles Tan. He is the founder of copyandproperty.com. Okay, this is a leading independent property blog in Malaysia. Okay, right. Copyandproperty.com have started in November 2013, and today has over 10,000 followers and more than 30,000 visits every month, right? So Mr. Charles has been invited to share in many events or in the property talk, and he also is the judge for many property awards including iProperty.com and also the Property Guru Asia Property Awards in Malaysia, right? So without any delay, I would like to invite our speaker for sharing tonight, who is Mr. Charles Tan. Mr. Charles, are you there?
So investing in property post-pandemic, right? What you should look for when choosing your next investment property. Tonight, I actually have a lot of questions. And I guess the first thing to start is a little bit about me. So I'm the founder of copyandproperty.com since 2013. That is about 8 years already. I'm not part of MCM, so you can see that even MCM also said they have nothing to do with me, and so I also have to say the same thing. I'm not part of MCM. No idea why my mouse is not working. I'm also not part of any developer or agency or even mortgage agency, and I do not run any courses, so there's nothing to sell you at the end of my talk. Yeah, I'm an investor, just like most of you. I have access to condo facilities in 6 cities or towns in Malaysia right now, and some small offices. I have served as judge. I think Lucas shared already. My articles and views have appeared in media, most major media, magazines, and property portals. Except one media, but I won't tell you which media, but generally all the Sun, the Star, NST, yeah, you name it, iProperty, Property Guru, Property Hunter, everywhere I'm already there. The Malaysian Reserve, right? So there's one name that I didn't mention. Yeah, I haven't been there. Spoken on TV and was assistant producer to a real estate show as well. Yeah. About kopiandproperty.com, this is a leading independent property blog. Please do drop by if you like to read about news. Every day, one article. Kopi and Property is invited to all major real estate events as media, whether it's Napik, Radar, MIA, and more. Since November, I've been writing about 1.5 articles per day. Today, I posted 2, so yeah. I write as a property investor to educate everyone. And I do not write to tell you to buy or to sell, right? Even tonight's speech talk, you gain a lot of good ideas, but it's not whether you should buy or should sell, yeah? Kopi and Property sign up is always free, just sign up. And later on, after the talk, if you find that it's interesting, please do go to fb.com/kopiandproperty and just click a like. Thank you very much. Let's have the first one. This one just mentioned just now by Lucas, I think. So the best time to plant a tree or buy a property was 20 years ago, by the way, everyone. Is not even this year, right? The second best time may be now, maybe now, no idea, right? But the answer to this is actually a very, very general yes or no. It's not enough, right? So this question actually comes with a lot of questions that we have to answer before we can decide whether, okay, it's the best time for me to buy, but it's not the best time for Lucas to buy, example, right? The best time for Lucas to buy may not be a best time for Charles to buy, right? So everyone have their own best time, and even the type of property that you like to buy, that's a totally different question altogether, right? Okay, so what you should look for when choosing the next investment property? Actually, the answer to this question is a one word. You know what is the answer to this question? The answer lies with you. Yeah, but because the answer lies with you, right? So now allow me to ask some questions. By the way, you can always ask Q&A, and it will be answered at the end of the talk. Yeah. Are you really sure it's property investment for you? Before we continue on, just a very, very short one. Are we sure, hey, is property investment for me? Or is it stock investment? Or is it unit trust? Or is it maybe cryptocurrency, right? No idea, right? First of all, property investment takes a long time. To buy a property, it takes a long time. To sell a property, it takes a long time, right? So remember that property is illiquid, right? Even when it's a cash buyer, so I used to have a cash buyer who bought my condo in Penang. Even for a cash buyer, it still took 20 over days. Yeah, so remember that, yeah? Secondly, property investment, may need a lot of money, yeah? Depending on what kind of property you buy. Generally, it's 10% down payment, generally. So if it's a 500,000 property, it is 50,000 ringgit, right? So always remember that this is not like buying a unit trust where you can start with 500 or 1,000, right? Or you buy a stock which you can start with 2,000 or 1,000 or whatever, right? Property is always very, very big number. So remember that, yeah? And if there's any property which does not need to start with a big number, I'm not sure whether that is a property investment, yeah? Then third, it's a high risk thing. See this guy jump over, definitely it's a high risk, right? Just think about it, right? If you buy a stock, right? Buy one stock of 2,000. If the stock goes to zero, how much do you lose? 2,000, right? If you buy a 500,000 property, even though your down payment is 50,000, if something happens to that property, what is your loss? Wow, huge. So that is quite a big risk, right? So if you are still sure, okay, Charles, I think I'm okay with time. I think I can have the down payment, and I think risk is always about managing it. So if your answer is that, yeah, let's go on to the next one. So are you sure it's property investment? This time we talk about the good things, right? Good things don't need to talk too much. I just talk two things about good things, right? First thing is we are in Malaysia. So property investment, if you are talking about a country to invest property in, look at these demographics, right? Very, very clearly, the bottom part is very big, right? If you are looking to invest, the bottom part must be big. The reason is because when you buy now, the bottom part, they will grow up, right? Those people who are teenagers will become graduates. Graduates will become managers. Managers will become senior managers. So these people will still become that position in the future. They can buy from you. Now, imagine if you invest into a country where the top part is big, not the bottom part, top part is big. So when the top part is big, that means the older population is very high, right? How many of us think at 64 years old, we still want to buy a property? How many of us? Not many, right? Yeah. By the way, median age in Malaysia is 29. So generally, investment is still a very safe thing to have at the moment. Okay, my mouse is back. Secondly, if you look at the question of property types, right? Many people always love this question about buy landed or buy high-rise, because they say high-rise and build as high as possible, so there's no end. So high-rise, there's no value. Landed got a lot of value, right? Of course, there's also the land and offices and whatever. But generally, if you're talking about property investment, you usually start with residential. And residential, you usually think about the high-rise or landed, right? By the way, whether it's high-rise, whether it's landed, just look at the appreciation over the past 10 years, and you realize that if you have bought high-rise, from 2010, it would have risen by close to double by 2019. Close to double, right? And if you bought landed, depending on what landed you buy, if you buy terrace, you would have beaten high-rise by a little bit, right? Slightly more than double. If you bought semi-D, actually it's less than double, right? If you bought bungalow, it's also around there. But generally, on an average basis, all houses add together is about double. So you can safely say that property investment is definitely a good investment when you look at an overall basis, whether it's landed or high-rise. And the question, if you bought the wrong property, doesn't matter landed, doesn't matter high-rise, you will still incur huge losses, right? So due diligence is definitely needed before we buy. And it's not a question of high-rise or landed, yeah? Are you aware of COVID-19 and its impact? So this is a very good question, everyone. When we think about property investment, right? Actually, before COVID-19, the thought about property investment and the thought about property investment after COVID-19 totally changed, right? Still remember people say that working from home, not possible for every job before COVID-19 before COVID-19. After COVID-19, they tell you that nearly every job can work from home, right? So do you think, hey, every job can work from home? That means office no more, office building, office tower, all will be ending, right? If you think that way, then I show you this news first. If you think that way, Apple employees will return to offices. Ladies and gentlemen, this is Apple. This is not ABC, XYZ, GSG. This is Apple, right? Apple is asking all the employees to go back to office. By the way, if you're Google and you're an employee and you refuse to go back to office and you want to stay far away, your salary may also be cut, because the salary would depend on where you actually work, right? You cannot work in some stay in some cheap areas and then get back the same salary. There are also banks who tell that the bank salary would depend on where you work, right? So all these are actual happening. So don't think that COVID-19 everyone work from home, office will die. Now look at Apple for some clue, right? And Google for some clue, and Microsoft for some clue, and Citibank for some clue. Then you get your clue. Don't think too much. It will still be office, yeah. And I always love to give this example. So imagine, right? You do not have office already. You are working from home. Wow, very good. You save cost. When you have your first presentation to your customer, right? Where do you have the presentation? at the lobby of your condo where people move around? Sure. Or secondly, you go to a cafe and you have your presentation when people move around? Sure. Or you say, oh, never mind, everything is through Zoom. Think about it. Are you sure? You ask Lucas. Lucas has already been out for meetings, right, Lucas?
Yes.
Yeah. So remember, the norm will still be the norm. It's only when we will go back to norm, because none of us here are robots. All of us here are human, right? Nothing will beat a handshake and happy hour after the negotiation. Nothing. Don't tell me about Zoom and then bring your cup to the screen and all the best to you in your business if you think that's the future. Secondly, COVID-19, if you look at how it has affected demand and supply, is that because the construction cannot continue during the COVID-19 period. So what has happened is that the demand is also pushed back, because you can't go to sales gallery, you cannot buy, right? However, please remember, right? If your baby is coming, you need a bigger house, you will still need a bigger house, right? If you cannot stay with your in-law because you keep arguing with them, after the COVID-19, you will still need a new house, right? If your wife tells you that she wants a better house than the current one that you stay in, and you still love her, you better buy a new house, right? So the demand will still be there, right? And two more things is, first, look at the university students. Before this, everyone has to go back to hometown or anywhere, right? Can't go back to university. So no one can come to Klang Valley, to the most of the universities here, right? What has happened now? Everyone is coming back, right? So previously, everyone working from home, remember? Everyone don't come to office, work from home. Today, companies are pulling back the employees to come back and work from office, right? So what has happened to the demand? Suddenly spike up. Can houses be built in 4 days, 5 days? Cannot, right? That's why you look at COVID, right? It has pushed the property prices up suddenly, because the supply cannot increase, but the demand suddenly increased, right? But this also tells you that when situation gets better, the demand and supply will become a little bit more balanced. So you will go back to the usual every year a few percent increase, right? You won't have this 20%. But if you were having one property during this period, you are very, very happy, right? Secondly, the fourth thing is residential property, right? Who's your target? Remember just now we were talking about all these property officers and things like that. Actually, if we want to think about residential property, for example, the first thing that we must think about is who's your target. Someone, my two good friends, once called me out for a teh tarik before COVID-19, right? Then when I sat down, they asked, hey, is this the best time to buy? I look at them and I say, actually, I don't know how to answer you. Then I asked them, so you want to focus on what kind of property? Short term, long term? They said, oh, short term, long term. Short term means what? I said, short term means coming today, moving out, move out tomorrow. Long term means they will have a 1 year contract with you. Oh, like that? Don't know yet lah. Then don't know how to buy, right? Then I asked them, okay, assuming, right? You want to rent out for long term, right? So you want to rent out to office people, to students, to tourists, or expats or whatever, you know? What kind of people do you want to rent out to? I also don't know lah. Then I say, you see, how can I answer you? How am I supposed to answer you? What is the best to buy, right? So always remember, right? Whether it's short term, so vacation stay, right? Vacation stay. So if it's vacation stay, you cannot be having a property which is in the middle of nowhere, right? Because if I'm having bring my family for holiday, I would love a place which is nearer to the attraction first, right? Secondly, there must be enough car parks. I cannot go back and cannot have car park and have to park far away. That's not the way to go, right? And of course, it has to be well managed. There was once I stayed in a condo, right? New condo, very, very new. Facilities extremely good, right? That's one issue. When I walk out from the lift back to my unit, right? I pass 20 other units. No one is staying in those units. I'm the only one, right? So if I'm the only one, do you think I will come back to this condo again? Or I'm very, very scared to come back, right? Yeah. So if you intend to do short-term rental, then at the very least, you should have known, oh, this one already completed, already got people doing that, right? Go Airbnb, check it out. If a lot of people are doing that, then that is a condo for you to do that, right? If you intend to rent to office people, of course, it must be close to a LRT, MRT, whatever T kind of stop, right? It has to be. Why? Is because the younger generation generally don't like to be stuck in a jam for 1.5 hours to work and 1.5 hours back, right? Usually those people who are willing to be stuck in a jam are older people. Unfortunately, if you love to be stuck, you are definitely older, right? I just had a cup of coffee with a young friend the other day. Now a management team. She's 30s. She has not owned a car for a few years. Yeah, she works in the city center. Her office is also next to nearby a LRT stop. She also stays nearby LRT stop. So she wakes up at 8. She's already in the office by 8:30. Right? That is her lifestyle, and she stays in the KL city center. So what kind of people do you like, right? If you're office people, stop telling me that, oh, I want to rent out office people, but I will buy in Rawang, buy in Semenyih, all that to you, right? That's really, really not the way. Yeah? Or if you like to rent out to students, right? So students here, you also need to understand what kind of student, right? Private university, local university, colleges, what kind of university, right? And you need to also know whether the university actually have accommodation for the students or not. And you also need to know how much are they paying, for example. So all these are questions that you will need to find out before you are able to answer. But generally, this is a very good guide for you so that you don't ask anyone again, hey, is this the best time to buy? Because the person really cannot answer you. And if the person can answer you, that means the person wants to sell you some property. I am very, very serious about it, right? You ask them, can buy or not? They say, oh, can, this one. They show you the brochure already, right? This is not a good question. And if the person can answer you, that means the person wants to sell you something. I have nothing to sell you, sorry. So next one is if you want to look at commercial or offices, right? Do we have deeper pockets? That's the first question. The reason is very simple. Assuming we want to rent out to some restaurants, right? At the very least, we must buy units which are facing outside, facing the main road, facing whatever, right? It cannot be inside or second floor where very hard to walk by, right? And these units, if it's on the ground floor or facing outside, usually it's more expensive, right? Think about it, right? So assuming you say, oh, never mind, I don't want to rent. I rent out to the restaurant, right? I want to rent out to office. Fine, as office, right? You will now need to renovate accordingly, right? How many of you would have someone renting from you for an office and this someone spent 100,000 for renovation? How many? If this person can spend 100,000 for renovation, this person should have bought the office by themselves, not renting from you, right? So you will need to touch up so that the person will be attracted that only minor things I need to buy and I can start using the office. So again, the question is, do you have deeper pockets? Can you afford the renovation? I'll give you an example. Even a renovation for a 500 square feet office, right? For example, painting the walls, making sure the carpet, having some glass doors, putting up some cabinets here and there, lighting, right? Aircon, piping, that is already about 60,000, right? So are you prepared or not? So if you're prepared, yeah, fine, go ahead and do it. Yeah, that is quite lucrative as well. Or you can even think about, hey, how about if I buy it and I do it myself, right? So if you go to online today, you type opening own laundry, something like that, right? You will have a lot of people telling you that, don't worry, you can use my service. I'll make sure your laundry is profitable, right? So this can also be something that you like to do. Again, you will need to have deeper pockets, because after you buy all the machines, it is not like 3 months later you get back all the money, right? You will need to hold on for a while. After a while, maybe after 9 months, 12 months, depending on how popular your laundry is, right? Then you get back the profits, right? Really depends, yeah. And you cannot have these shops at a place where there's no one, right? You need to have it at some place where there's a lot of people walking past, people can see it, right? Again, you need more money, yeah. Next, we talk about this capital appreciation rental yields, right? So this is another very amazing question. So I always ask this question: do you want capital appreciation or do you want rental yield? Lucas, if I were to ask you, which one do you want? Usually, what is your answer?
Capital appreciation.
Oh, wow.
For me.
Okay. So Lucas is not greedy, right? Because most of the time, whenever in the talk I ask, okay, do you want capital appreciation or rental yield? Everyone shout, both! I want both! Yeah, I explain to you first before I show you the pictures, right? Why capital appreciation and rental yield cannot happen together is very simple, right? The reason why rental yield is positive is because your price when you buy and you rent out, the rental can cover the mortgage easily. Then you have positive rental yield, right? Correct? Now, assuming you buy this property, do you think the person will sell you at the price they buy or they sell you higher? They will sell you higher, right?
Yes.
Higher, right? Yeah.
Yes.
So you buy higher, what happens to your rental yield? Go down, right? So every property, if you look at the whole property market today, right? Everyone will tell you, now the rental yield is negative already because the rental is below the mortgage. Why? The reason is because the price went up very much faster than the rental can follow, right? Imagine there are 10 units, just 10 units, right? First unit sold 350,000. Second unit heard of it, 350. Do you think the second unit will sell 350 or 360?
360.
Yeah, 360. Third unit heard that this person sold 360. You think they sell 360 or 370?
370.
70, yes. So you see, the transaction can happen very fast and the price can change very fast. In fact, it can happen this week, next week, third week, fourth week, fifth week, right? Does rental change every week? No, yeah. So rental for that area, assuming it's 1,002, it will be 1,002 for that year. Maybe it will change to 1,003 next year. Fine. But it will take 1 year, right? But the property price, what has happened to the property price? Wow. So you are happy with the appreciation, but you will not be happy with the rental yield one, right? Now imagine, you bought a property at a price which is good. Rental yield is just ngam. But the property price did not change much. After 3 years, what happened to the rental yield? Wow, amazing. Because rental go up 50 ringgit, 100 ringgit, 100 ringgit, right? But your property price don't move much, right? So your rental yield is high. Can you find these kind of properties? Yes. Student areas, right? Some student areas you can find that, which is not growing by a lot, but it's still there, yeah? And then this is me in my parents' house. So you see, it's a landed area, right? So capital appreciation in landed area, does it happen to all areas? Actually, yes. The reason is very simple. Later I'll tell you. The reason is because the inflation is there. When my parents bought this property, for example, it was 85,000 long time ago when I was very young, and at that time their salary is by far lower than today. By far, right? When the salary goes up, you can pay more. That's why the price goes up. It doesn't mean that the value has gone up, right? Because everyone knows the cost of living is going up, right? Everyone knows, and the cost of living means the price is going up, right? Yeah. So can landed property in a city like Ipoh goes up? Yes. My parents bought at 85,000. My brother bought the same property a few years ago, 540,000, right? So has it gone up? Yeah, tremendously, right? Will they be happy? Yeah, if they have bought 3 properties at that time, they would have been very happy. They bought 1, so okay lah, can lah. They are still staying there, so can't do much anyway. Secondly, if you're talking about rental yield, right, many people will say that buy condo is better. Actually, yes. So if you buy condo, usually the price is lower, man, right? When the price is lower, your rental yield tend to be slightly better. When you buy a landed property, because the price is high, your rental will not be able to cover, right? Because if I can pay 1,600 as rental, I can only pay 1,600 as rental. I don't care whether you're landed or high rise, right? So think about it. And can renovation improve it? Yes, definitely. Renovation can improve it. I give you an example. So usually I don't rent out basic unit, right? So I have units here and there. I never rented out a basic unit. I always renovate my units first, right? Then people ask, hey, you renovated your unit, the renovation cost, then your rental, actually, I'm thinking about this for the long term, right? And secondly, the foremost important thing in my mind is I don't want to compete with the rest. When you look at any high rise, right, when they rent out, are there more people who rent out fully furnished, or are there more renting out basic? There are more basic unit, because many people just buy and hope that people will rent, right? I don't compete with all these people, right? So this is one of the key reasons. Next, we have all these holiday kind of properties, right? Nearby vacations and things like that. Please do not hope for high capital appreciation, but you can always hope for rental yield, right? So think about what I really want, and then only you decide, right?
Mr. Charles, you still have 8 minutes left.
Yeah, just about right. I'm already close to finishing. Thank you very much, Lucas. So another thing is changing preferences. Do we keep track or not? All these are trends in the market that we have to know if we want to continue our property investment journey, right? First, millennials want better work-life balance, right? What is work-life balance? Work-life balance means they are not like us, right? Not like me, sorry, not like, some of you are very, very young, not like me, right? I join the company and maybe I will work very, very long. They join the company, they will work long if this company give them work-life balance, right? Where they don't want to spend hours in the traffic jam, right? They do not want to go to a working place where they can't just walk to a place to eat. They have to drive out. This is not their lifestyle anyway. Yeah, the lifestyle now, even if they stay at a place, they like to walk down. There's a supermarket. They don't mind that the supermarket sells the packet of noodle extra 50 cents. They don't mind, This is not like our time or like my mother's time, right? Where, wow, extra 20 cents, better buy from the other shop. The millennials don't care, right? So if you like to rent to them, it has better to have the advertisement with something like 2 minutes to the nearest supermarket, 2 minutes to MRT, 2 minutes to LRT, right? Very important. So keep track of all these needs, right? But if you say, no, I don't want to target these millennials, I don't like millennials somehow, I like to target the older ones. Okay, if you like to target older ones, then make sure your property has the things that they want, right? It's very important that for the older ones, the car park, right? The area maybe have some park for them to walk, right? All those kind of things. And usually they don't like congested places, right? Too many people they also don't like, right? Millennials don't really care. They come back, by the time they come back, right, it's already very late. No one is walking on the corridors anyway, yeah? And then if you notice the LRT or MRT or whatever, you will notice that there are a lot more choices now, right? So along the routes of MRT 1, right? Very soon you will have along the routes of MRT 2. Most of all these areas, there are still a lot of potential, right? So think about that. And urbanization, right? So Malaysia remains a country where the urbanization is still going up very fast. Example, people moving to Klang Valley is about 200 over 1,000 every year, right? This is why Klang Valley is moving up so fast. There's so many exciting things happening here. And we are coming to the very end. Property investment is stable, low risk, and hedges against inflation. I show you 3 photos. First, non-performing loan. You can see that Malaysia's non-performing loan is very, very low because the banks are making it very hard to get a loan, right? If you don't qualify, you don't qualify. This is not like in some developed country. especially that country which caused the mortgage crisis, right? That country can simply lend. We cannot, right? You don't qualify, you don't qualify, right? Our long-term interest rate, if you remember, long-term interest rate for the older people like me, I used to have FD, which is 6%, 5.8%. Wow, at that time, wow, crazy. Just FD already 5.8%, right? Today, 1.8%, right? Remember, because interest rate is low, your return from all these interest kind of investment will be very low. But you imagine, if it's just 2%, but it's property price, it's okay. You understand? Because 500,000, even if 2%, right? 500,000, 2% is how much, Lucas?
2% of
500,000.
2%, 1,000.
10,000.
10,000. Sorry.
Yes.
10,000.
So it is very important for us to understand that property investment, even 2%, wow, pretty high. Versus if I were to invest 50,000, right, in 1.8%, at the end of the year, I'm like, what is this enough for, right? Yeah, so think about it. And inflation, typically the government tells us it's about 3% to 4%. Everyone will tell you that personal inflation is by far higher, right? So always remember, the only thing that hedges against inflation very much is property, right? That's why the property that I told you about, my parents' property, from 85,000 become 540,000. It is not to make them rich, it's just to make sure they don't get poor, right? Because last time 85,000 is huge last time. Today 540,000 can lah. At least they don't. If they sell the property, they still have a lot of money, right? Yeah, so think about it. That's property investment. Last but not least, the final slide. Property is part of a human need, right? First, physiological need. How many of us would like to sleep on the streets? I don't think any one of us love to sleep on the street, right? We prefer to have a roof over our head. First thing, right? Secondly, do we want a property that can make sure we are not what we call when the rain comes, we are not wet. We want, right, safety needs, right? Next, actually, even when we move up, right, we will want a property that gives us the love, the belonging, right? A property which our parents can live with us, right? And next, when we move even further, right, we want a property that people respect us for. They come and see our property, wow, so awesome, right? And last but not least, right, when we achieve self-actualization, actually at that time, our property is no longer something that we think, I must stay in bungalow, because at that time you left 2%, your kids are all everywhere else. You won't want a bungalow anyway. You may want to stay at a simple house, and then you travel a lot, right? So whatever stage in the hierarchy of needs, right, we will always have a property there. Yeah. Last, 90% of all millionaires become so through owning real estate. Simple, right? 90%. Are there another 10%? Yeah, you can definitely be the 10%, right? Maybe we become Elon Musk or whoever, right? But yeah, generally 90% are through property. Questions after this? And last but not least, if you like to follow me, you just go to Copy and Property Facebook, click like. Otherwise, you can also go to Telegram, follow, or you can go to Twitter, you can follow. I'm also on Instagram, but I'm not so active in Instagram, right? Okay, if otherwise, back to you, Lucas. Thank you very much, everyone, for listening.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Charles. Wow, today is really a very fantastic sharing from Mr. Charles. And for our friends who are in the Zoom room now, yes, after this, we still have a Q&A session together with Mr. Charles, right? So, again, okay, we would like to thank Mr. Charles for your wonderful sharing. So for our members in the Zoom, if you have any questions you would like to ask our speaker of tonight, then you can write in the chat box and send to our PR. Okay, our PR today is Rina, our Miss Rin. So okay, I received a few questions already. Few questions here. So we would like to ask Mr. Charles. Okay, is there any way to measure or calculate if the property is below market value? Or everyone look for below market value property.
Yes, actually, well, as usual, the question is always very simple, but the answer is always very, very hard to answer you, right? But there are a few ways, right? First is always to refer to the transacted price. Go to Google, just type property transacted prices. Then you'll be going to a couple of websites that will show you the transactions based on that property, right? So based on the transaction, you'll be able to know the price. You look at the price that is on offer now, whether it's below or above, right? First of all, this is one way. Second way is always to use rental yield, right? Rental yield is if you look at the property price and then you look at the rental, you realize, cannot cover. So if you cannot cover, then of course the property price may not be that attractive to you, right? If it can cover, then yes, it is a good price. Then if it's a good price, then you can define that as a below market, for example. And of course, you can also compare to similar types of properties in the same area, in another area but similar type. Or another way, by the way, I'm also an auctioneer, so I'm a licensed auctioneer. So another way is you look at the auction, right? When you look at auction, right, you will see some properties that they have been under auction for many times, right? And then they will tell you, oh, this one, the market price used to be that price, and then now it's the fifth auction, right? Every auction it goes up by 10%, right? Yes. So this one actually gives you another indication of, actually the market price is not actually the market price, because no one actually wanted to buy in the auction market even at that price, right? So these are some of the ways that you can know whether it's under market price or not. But there is generally no answer, right? Even if you ask a valuation person, they will also tell you, look back at the valuation, see whether. But even valuation, just need to remember with a pinch of salt, right? During those good times, the property price actually went up very, very high, right? So those property prices went up very high. Even when we refer to the transaction, we say, wow, used to be very high, ma. So I can sell, all the best to you, right? Used to be very high, and if you want to sell at that price right now, it's going to be very tough to sell at that price, right? Because the rental yield is no longer positive. So unless I buy for my own stay, if I buy for a rental yield, I cannot buy from you. Because I buy from you, my mortgage cannot even cover the rental. Then how, right? Yeah, but if I buy for my own stay, that's fine, right? Otherwise, I always have this joke with my friend. I said, if you found a property which is above market price by 10%, but it is next door to your mother-in-law's house, you buy or no buy, right? Then have to buy lah. Yes. Right? Otherwise, your mother-in-law will ask, wow, so I am not worth the 10% premium, right? Think about it, right? Yeah.
Okay, so Mr. Chow, the second question for tonight is okay, is there any way to find the next infrastructure development?
Yeah, actually, all this infrastructure development, I also try my best to follow, but all this infrastructure development, sometimes I also cannot follow all. But generally, the big things will always be the MRT lah, will always be the ECR lah, ECRL lah, right? The potential for HSR lah, right? Still back on the table again. Anyway, high speed rate is quite sure lah. Then the RTS between JB and Singapore lah, right? All these are some of the infrastructure. And of course, if you look at the bigger projects with high GDP, there will be places like BBCC lah, right? Sungai Besi lah, right? Or even those big pieces of land, right? In Rawang or elsewhere, big pieces of land lah, right? Usually you can do a lot more versus one block of condo, for example, right? But generally, if you like to follow, you will need to read a little bit more. I also try my best to follow. It's very hard to have. There are no one website with all that. I don't know of any. If you know, please tell me also. Huh?
Okay, right. So the third question is, okay, how can we check the background of the developer?
Oh, this one is a very, very good question. I just covered this in one of the talk the other day. Nowadays, right, the first thing that you always go to a developer to check out developer is always the website, right? If there's one developer that there is no website yet, I don't know what to say about the developer. But generally, if you go to the developer website, for sure they will have past project, right? Unless they are first-time developer. Otherwise, they will have past project. Go to the past project. Don't read what the developer say. Go to the past project, you go to Google and you Google the original price of this project, and then you Google the latest transacted price, right? Original price 300, latest transacted 600. Wow, good developer, right? At the very least, that development is in the right place. Enough people like it, right? You know this is a good development, right? Good developer or not, very, very subjective lah, everyone very, very subjective. So I also have my favorite developer, and my favorite developer may not be my friend's favorite developer, right? So all this is very subjective, but a few things lah. First, don't think too much about developer first. First, you look at the price of the property first, right? If it's a great developer but it's overpriced, do you buy? Of course you don't buy, right? The developer won't save you, right? Price first. Then you look at the developer. Developer means you look at the past project lah, you look at the financial stability of the developer. How to see financial stability? Very, very simple. Developers start selling without any work being done. That means the developer is not so awesome. Developers start selling and you see the building already up. Wow, this one is quite a good developer because they do have deeper pockets, right? The development is more sure to complete, right? The final thing is a feature, right? So even if it's a good developer, but the feature is the feature of the condo, wow, so ugly. I tell you, the developer cannot save you one first, right? Or the feature are the what you call the things that they use looks very low quality. Again, the developer cannot save you, right? So this is a concept I call PDF lah. Price, developer, features, right? So if you like to evaluate a developer, evaluate development, I use this PDF concept. Price, developer, feature. I have spoken about this and written about it as well. PDF concept, yeah.
Okay, right. So, Mr. Sao, refer back to just now the question one. So last time we can check the actual transaction price through bricks.my, right? But nowadays the portal is no longer up to date. So is there any other way to check the actual transaction price for individual units?
Actually, I also don't have an answer for you. I used to use bricks as well. Yeah, so I also haven't checked the property price for a long time because I actually don't trust too much about transacted price. Like I mentioned to you just now, I also said there was a period where prices went up really, really high, right? So if you remember the price at one point, every property that you see is all above 700,000, right? Above 700 per square feet, above 800 per square feet, regardless of where, right? Everything is already at that level. Then everyone realized, cannot sustain, right? So can you say that last time transacted 900,000, so now should be higher, or now at least should be 900? Actually, I also find it hard to tell you that that is the truth. So I also haven't really looked at the transacted price too much. Today, like I mentioned just now, the first one was transacted, second one was about rental yield, right? So I always use that because this is much better for us as an investor, right? If the rental yield is too negative, maybe it's very hard, right? We will need to hold on for a very, very long time, right? If it's very, very negative. So at this particular point in time, actually, Lucas also mentioned earlier, maybe this is the best time. The reason is very simple. Some owner may not be able to hold. right? So if they cannot hold, they can sell it 50,000 lower, and you after calculation you found 50,000 lower, rental yield is positive already, not high but positive already. You can consider that as below market already, because current market means rental yield is negative.
Okay.
Right? So if you can get positive, any small positive, I would think that is considered below market price already. Yeah.
Okay, right. So Mr. Sao, we really received a few questions tonight. And the fourth question, okay. What is your opinion in buying multiple properties through compressed loan?
Yeah. So this again is a very sensitive question. It really depends on your own self, right? Remember, yeah, when we buy multiple properties through compressed loan or whatever loan or whatever name you call when we buy multiple properties, why we do that is because we want the money, right? So if you want the money, what are you doing with the money, right? If you just want the money to buy a new car, then I think the end is very near, right? So you look at auction market, for example, today auction market, many times you will see one same buyer, 4 different units, right? So what has happened is very, very simple. The buyer went to submit, the buyer got all the loans approved, the buyer got all the money, the buyer is very happy. But actually, who is the happiest? It's the one who arranged for you. That's the happiest person, right? Because the one who arranged for you, they get the money, they have zero risk. The one who has all the risk is you, you yourself, right? Yeah. So always remember this fact. And if you think, never mind, I think with the money, I can do a lot of things. I can invest money, I can get more return. Yeah, fine. I mean, that is your answer, right? Go ahead, right? But otherwise, I would not recommend it because most of us, when we see a lot of money, we usually will spend it, and that's when the problem starts. Yeah.
Yep. Okay. Right. Thank you. And this one from Penang. What is your opinion on Penang property? Which area is better?
Yeah. So I tell you my story of Penang, then everyone can laugh a bit. So I was based in Penang for 15 years. So the first property ever that I buy was in Relau, right? So I bought in Relau, and people ask me, "Ayo, Relau, why you buy in Relau? Why not buy in Gelugo?" Then I look at the person. If Gelugo is the same price as Relau, I buy Gelugo lor. It's not, Gelugo is 3 times higher, 2 times higher, 3 times higher, whatever right? That's why I buy Relau Simple answer to you, right? Many years later, I sold the place for nearly double the price, right? Yeah. So the one who buy Gelugo, will he be able to sell double the price? Maybe, right? Maybe, right? But was Relau a bad decision? No, no, I also sell double, right? Then that's not all. Then I bought Sungai Ara. Someone said, Sungai Ara, wow, that was very far away, The water also not as clean, Yeah, Penang people are very awesome one. Why not you just buy this Queens Bay area? Why you buy Sungai Ara? I also want to laugh because if Queens Bay area same price as Sungai Ara, I buy Queens Bay lah. It's not right? Many years later, again, I sold more than double, by the way, more than double, right? So was Queens Bay a good decision? Maybe. I have no idea, right? I didn't buy. But Sungai Ara, was it a good decision? Of course, right?
Yes.
This is not all. Unfortunately, this is not all. So I bought in Tanjong Tokong, right? To some people, they say, "Oh, that area need to pass the graveyard, then only can reach your home, I'm thinking, I just want to tell them that actually, past the graveyard is one road. There's another road which you don't need to pass the graveyard. And secondly, the price for that one is less than half of the nearby Tanjong Tokong project. I'm very sure everyone will know what project am I talking about. Tanjong Tokong, super S start one. So the price that I bought and the price that is today, if I sell, is already double, right? So is that project better? Maybe I had no idea. But was my project bad? No, definitely not. Right? So again, don't think too much about the area, everyone. Because if you were to ask 10 people in Penang whether they want to buy an island or the mainland, they will tell you island. Simple as that, right? And then in the island, you ask them Green Lane or Sungai Ara, 10 out of 10 will tell you Green Lane, for sure, right? Then you ask them, okay, can you afford Green Lane? If the answer is yes, then by all means buy Green Lane, right? But if the answer is no, then what are you talking about Green Lane, right? Can you afford? Cannot buy far away, right? Like me, always buy the area next to. Did I suffer losses? No. Did I gain the most money? I have no idea, right? Maybe the one who bought in Queens Bay, the one who bought Galugo gain more money. It's fine. I doubled my money. That's good enough for me. Yeah. So always look at that. Then you realize, they are undervalued property, right? I just don't need to buy in that A area. I can buy in the area next to the A area, which is 30% lower, for example, right? Yeah.
We must know our objective of investment, right?
Yes, the objective. Yeah, super good word. The objective. Why first? If you just want to stay there, by all means, buy the area that you love the most, everyone, right? Stay means don't talk about all this return, whatever. You want to stay next to your mother-in-law? Stop telling me about all this return, right? You just have to stay next to your mother-in-law. Right? Yeah, simple.
Yes. Okay. So this question also I'm not very understand the question, so I have to read out. How much premium you will pay extra in percentage for a branded developer? Also, how much premium you will pay extra in percentage for a TOD?
Okay. So again, everyone, this is a very subjective question, right? Like I mentioned, you like the developer has nothing to do with whether the buyer would love the developer or not, right? So if you love the developer, you will still need to go back to PDF concept. So assuming D, you love the developer, never mind, you love developer, you need to go back to the P, right? And this is where you ask the premium, right? So now the premium would go back to our earlier question. Is it value for money versus the market price at that time, right? So again, objective, which Lucas mentioned, are you buying for your own stay? If you buy for your own stay, you love the developer, go ahead and buy it. If you buy because you want to invest, then please remember, if I rent your place, do I care whether it's developer A, developer B, developer C? Do I care if I rent your place? Right? You care, right? But do I care? The renter don't care. Renter just want to go to the condo. The lift works fine. Your unit looks fine. The guard looks fine. Not the old guard, right? The facility looks fine. No damage, right? Clean. No one ever asks before they rent your place, hey, who's the developer to your project? Before they rent your place, I can safely assure you, because until today I rented so many years, so many different towns and cities, not a single question who asked me, hey Charles, this unit, who is the developer? None, zero so far, right? And then and so this is my thinking, right? But having said that, remember, when it is a good developer, usually the quality of finishing, the issues with the house is by far lower than if it's not a good developer, right? I don't say a branded or non-branded. I say a good or not good, right? Good means you go to the development. When you take the keys, right? Usually the touch-ups, everything would have been done one round before you go in. The developer who is no good, when you go in, that is the first time you will ever see the unit. Yeah. So that is the difference between good and a bad developer. Anyway, today I just took a keys to a condo as well. Very few defects because they have gone in one round. Yeah, the developer themselves go in one round, right? Then the second thing, TOD, transit-oriented development, right? Transit-oriented development is a theme which is a little bit overused already, right? I tell you why. If it's someone who wants to rent a TOD, right? This person definitely is someone who does not want to drive, right? If that someone has a car, TOD, no TOD is does not matter to the person, right? And if a TOD is very important to the person, then you have to realize the price that they pay, they may not be willing to pay high because today there are so many projects which are along the lines of a TOD. So long time ago, if you are talking about the LRT Kelana Jaya, right? Only one line, maybe, right? The rest of the project all very far away. No, now we have LRT lines, we have MRT lines. So the so-called TOD last time was limited in quantity, ladies and gentlemen, right? Today the TOD is by far more. So the premium associated with the TOD has actually gone down because of the number of properties which are available today and the number of properties that will be available later, right? But just need to remember, if you're renting out to someone who needs a TOD, of course the rental can be higher. It just cannot be higher by 1,000, right? So if the rental can be higher by 200, by 300, then you adjust the price accordingly to the 200 or the 300, right? Again, remember, we come back to the rental yield that we talk about, right? So it's not based on the price, but it's always based on how much the person is willing to rent from you. Go back to the rental yield, then you have a better answer versus asking me. Actually, you will know by far better. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you so much. Thank you, Mr. Charles, for spending extra 15 minutes with us. Okay, a round of applause to Mr. Charles. I know that there are still a few questions here, but actually we are already over the time. Okay, no worry. We keep the question for next round together with Mr. Charles. Okay, right. So very thank to Mr. Charles again.